Hey everybody, welcome back to Elemental Cartomancy. This is Chris, and this is going to be a walkthrough of Tarot of Passing Showers. Okay, guys, so this is a beautiful deck that I first found on, I first saw it on Casper, the Boy Diviner's YouTube channel, well over a year ago now. We're probably pushing about 2 years ago. Um, and I loved it at that point. But it's a deck that's available on Make Playing Cards, and I was waiting until the right time to get it. Basically, waiting until there was a couple of things that I wanted to get in Make Playing Cards to buy them together. Um, this is by a lovely person called VALERIE CHIA, I think it's pronounced. Valerie has a YouTube channel called The Slightly Chipped Moon. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link Valerie's YouTube channel and the Make Playing Cards store in the description below, so as that if you see this and you like it, you know where to go and find it and find more information. Now, what I would say is that Valerie has done a full detailed walkthrough of this deck on her channel, going right into detail about why she's chosen the images for each of the cards. I would highly recommend that if you fancy this deck, you go and you check that out. Just some of the usual stuff. So size, it is pretty much the same as your usual US games, kind of a tarot size. You can probably see that it's just a smidge taller and broader than this US games card here. Just see how it's just kind of a comes out at each side. Um, so just a tiny wee bit bigger, but probably not even anything you would notice just when you're using the deck in your hands. The cardstock is beautiful. It's linen cardstock. It's make playing cards linen cardstock. So this is going to feel like a good quality playing card deck to you in your hands. So it's going to be a nice one to shuffle as well, but we'll get into the shuffle and whatnot shortly. Let me get us zoomed in just a smidge more than what we are right now, and we will do a wee kind of a flip through, and I'll chat through just my impressions and the images as we're kind of again through it. Just before we kind of a kick off, these are the backs, which in my opinion are absolutely stunning. Really, really nice. Reversible, and just beautiful. These kind of a purple colours, purple and indigo colours. So we have our full, and you know, I mean, if you're used to like the standard Marseille or Smith Wakefield, then you know this does everything that it needs to do. We have the person kind of a with joy in their heart. They appear to be a mountain side, but we don't actually see the cliff itself. We do see the familiar, which in this case appears to be like a Chinese dragon, which is really nice. Trying to stop the fool, trying to pull them back. And we also have this, and it appears to me to be energizing the sacral chakra. But that might not have been the intention, but it's beautiful anyway. A magician. I'm not necessarily going to, talk right through all of these cards. By the way, I'll just be kind of if I feel like I've got something to say on it, then I'll talk about it. But it's interesting. We have these kind of a beasts, um, beside the magician, surrounded by snakes and whatnot. So it's quite interesting. I suppose I'm saying magician. This is actually titled the Magus. High Priestess. I know that a lot of the artwork for this deck has been inspired by like manga and kind of anime art, I believe. Um, Empress. Really beautiful Empress. I love the kind of a flowers in the hair, the dove. We've even got the shield, you know. For those of us that like to read the Empress as that really kind of a powerful, feminine, regal character. Um, we have that there, but also with the flowers and whatnot, we can also kind of read it as that kind of a connection to nature. Emperor. I love the colours in this card. I love the colours in this deck, just, on the whole. And you can see that the cards are borderless at the sides, and then on top and bottom we have these kind of a borders that are hand drawn. So in the majors we have the number at the top and the title at the bottom. The Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot. So we appear to have a unicorn and a hog. Is that? Adjustment. So that would be justice. And we have the feather here in the hand, which I believe is a nod to Mat or Mayat, the Egyptian goddess of justice. The Hermit, beautiful Hermit. We have the Caduceus here, which is unusual to find in the Hermit card. And we have the lantern, which, is really shining outwards. The Wheel of Fortune, Strength. This is really nice. The Hanged Man, Death, Temperance, or Art, sorry, in this one. So you'll notice with titles like Adjustment and Art, this is quite inspired by the Thoth. And when you read what Valerie says, their favourite tarot deck is the Thoth, or their favourite system is the Thoth, the Devil, the Tower. Really striking and powerful Tower card. The Star, the Moon, the Sun, the Eon. Again, another kind of a nod to the Thoth. I love the I mean, we still get the idea of opening up your eyes and kind of being unplugged from the matrix, escaping from Plato's cave, all of that kind of thing, with this kind of this cold blue color that the person's existing in the bottom, and then you can see that they're looking up towards the light. Um, this what appears to be a kind of an angel-like character up in the light, and they're also thinking about embracing that and the universe. Okay, so the wands first. So we've got the Ace of Wands. I'm trying to remember the name of this stone. I think this is like a lizard that lives in, hot climates, so a symbol of fire, like not it's not a chameleon, I don't think, but the stone, um, I was looking it up just this morning, but it's supposed to be a kind of it promotes like transformative and sexual energy, which is, um, a lot to do with the thought, a lot to do with the wand, sorry, the sort of the element of fire. Two of Wands, we have the Jekyll and Hyde, so really kind of a drawing on the duality of the duality side of this card. Um, the Two of Wands, the astrological association is Mars and Aries, so we really get that kind of that domination, that the duality, the yeah. So this is quite nice. Three of Wands, breaking through the surface. Four, so we can kind of this is like a celebration of a partnership, but in a different way than what we see it in the, like, for example, the Smith weight. The Five of Wands. So we really get this looks like a head that's that's mounted on a spear or something like that. And we have these kind of hyenas at the top of the card. So we really get the kind of the strife, the conflict um, feel from this card. And what's interesting is if I do that just now, if you contrast the five and the six, so obviously the five is is the instability, is the conflict. The six is finding your way through that, it's finding harmony, it's finding that rebalance. So I like that we still have, I know I think these are polar bears as opposed to hyenas that we've got here. But we have the kind of a pack of animals still, but they've moved to the bottom of the card, and the person has kind of moved up to the top. And also where the person was clearly in a state of defeat before, they're now kind of breathing fire and really embracing the element of fire. So I think that's really nice the way that that's done, just the way that the characters flip and yeah, just how the element is really powerfully demonstrated there. Seven of Wands, so facing your fears, facing up against this kind of a spider, and really kind of using your passion. You can see, using the element of fire in order to defeat the foe. And I think you can see down here, like other spiders that have already been defeated by her. The Eight of Wands. So really getting the energy here of the eight, the momentum, the swiftness, the burst of energy. The nine, so the church grim, the protectiveness, and the 10, and you really get the feeling that this person is being kind of overcome, overwhelmed with all of these kind of centipedes that are crawling over them. Our Page of Wands. Knight. You really get the energy in this card. You know, all of the courts, well, so far, um, you really get that fiery feel. Um, but just I don't know if it's like just with this kind of you really get the sense of movement and energy and momentum with the Knight of Wands, which is quite cool. Queen. And King. So on to the swords. Have our Ace of Swords. We have Metatron's cube here. Um, I was looking it up. Metatron's cube can be a symbol for a lot of things, but I think it's like a symbol of truth, of knowledge. It can symbolize basically everything in the world and how it's all connected. Um, but basic the suit of swords. The element of air is all about understanding, but information and different ways that we process it, that we use it, that we exchange it rather, I should say. Rather than a sword piercing through, we have this. I think this is a hummingbird with its beak piercing through. Oh, well, we appear to have gotten out of order somehow. So let's pause this and get these cards back in order. Right, we're back and we're in order, I think. So we've got the Two of Swords, the Three. You can see the hole in the heart here. Um, So you can get that feeling of heartache, but you also have this kind of a cage that's around the person's head. They have the key in their hand. So you could look at it as like gaining new information, unlocking secrets, unlocking truths. Um, the Four, someone appears to have just gone to sleep in the middle of the street. They've taken a rest from all the hustle and bustle. Five, this is just a really beautiful card. Now, when you listen to what Valerie says on her channel about this card, they do talk about so um so I think this is meant to be a plague nurse, a nurse that um treated people during times of the plague. Now, Valerie had read about people like nurses who would actually spread the plague in order to give themselves more work and you know more I suppose more recognition, basically to bring more attention onto them. They would actually spread the disease. They would spread it. They would basically do what they're not meant to do. And it's that kind of a idea of unethical behaviour that's that's inspired the use of this for this card. So it's really nice. We have the Saturday Buddha for the Six of Swords. So the Buddha going into meditation and then being protected by the king snake, the seven-headed snake, uh, protected the Buddha from the rain whilst they were meditating. So we get that idea of meditating and gaining that mental harmony, and the protection kind of aspect of it as well, which is nice. Oops, 7. So we can see this person's kind of a half of their face is in shadow, so there's a part of them that they're not showing. There's a vulture in the card. Vultures, anytime I see a vulture, I think of what Rachel Pollock says about the turkey vulture and the guidebook to the Brady Tarot. If you look up the Justice card, really beautiful and really kind of interesting stuff. Vultures are viewed as, well, if you call someone a vulture, it's not a very nice term to use. You're basically saying that they're a bottom feeder, they feed off other people's leftovers, all that kind of a thing. But in actual fact, a vulture has the ability to process, all sorts of disease and, you know, rotten, diseased, dead flesh, and purify it. Through their digestive system, it gets purified. So they're actually making the world a better place. So yeah, we've got the kind of a perhaps shadow self that's been looked at here. We have the snake on the shoulder, which Valerie has used as a symbol of what people would normally use snakes for. So slyness or dishonesty or whatever. I have pet snakes, and I don't use snakes. I don't view snakes in that way. Perhaps complexity, yeah. Just with the kind of a way that they move, the winding way that they move, sure. But I don't like to look at them as a negative thing. But what I'm saying is, you do have that kind of a negative side to it that you can pull on. But there's also the idea of, rather than being dishonest, it could be just thinking outside the box, finding an alternative solution to the problem. All right. Actions that at first glance or at surface level might appear to be dishonorable, but when you look at them truly for what they are, in actual fact, you're doing a real service, that kind of a thing. The Eight of Swords, pretty standard Eight of Swords. The Nine, well, basically, this is supposed to be symbolizing a nightmare that's going over and over and over again. We've got at the wrist, at the left wrist where you would typically wear your watch, you've got this kind of the two arrows, the kind of a refresh, recycle arrows. I think that's what that's meant to mean. Valerie does say this is supposed to symbolize a nightmare that goes over and over and over again. So I'm assuming that the the arrows at the kind of a watch wrist is the kind of a over and over again bit. And then you've got what appears to be like a kind of a mechanical bird that this person is on. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's the Nine of Swords, and then we have the Ten. So you do see this idea of this person wasting away to nothing, almost really mechanical feel to it. And I think she says that the sword suit, um, there's a lot of kind of inspiration taken from like steampunk and things like that. But she does make a point in saying that she views the tens as moving on, the renewal of the cycle, moving on from one thing, the end of one thing and the start of another, which really speaks to me on a deep level, because that is how I view the tens as well. It's important to me that the tens can be viewed in that way. So we see the kind of the darkness behind the person, but they're looking on into what appears to be like kind of a brightness, a bright new sunrise or whatever it is in the future. Page of Swords, the Knight, Queen, the King. So we're on to the cups. We have this lotus flower with the seven colours bursting from it, into it, not sure. We have the phases of the moon on it. Really, really nice card. Really strongly depicts its element, the element of water. Two of Cups, the Three. I love that it's got penguins on it. The Four, 5. They bogged down in this kind of a marsh type setting. The 6. I love the colours on this card. The blue, that kind of aqua blue, really pops nicely. And this is this called a tamaki ball? or something like that. It's an embroidered ball, and it's a Japanese thing, I think. 7, 8 of cups, the 9 of cups. I think Valerie says, this being the wish card, um, so she's drawn a person who is in prayer, praying for something. But I mean, for me, I view this card not simply as the wish card, but it's a card about emotional fulfillment. We're in 9 of water here, we're quite high emotional energy. It's about being, emotionally fulfilled, which can mean, by getting something you want. It can mean by a wish being granted, but it can also just mean by being surrounded by the people that you love and care about and that kind of a thing. And you get that kind of a nice feel from this card as well. And the Ten of Cups. Hand in hand, you see this, the rainbow. Page of Cups. The Knight. The Queen. And our King of Cups. And then last but not least, we're on to the suit of Pentacles. So that's the Ace, the 2, the kind of has a very yin yang type feel to it. The duality, the juggling, balancing. The 3, working hard to achieve something here. 4. It's nice that this looks like contentment and not, stinginess, or miser. 5, seeking shelter from the storm in this tree here. Really, really nice. 6, 7 of Pentacles. This person appears to be resting and this flower is growing from them. So waiting for the right time, you know. 8, 9. I do get the usual feels from her, she's obviously very well off, affluent, well dressed, all of that kind of a thing. Then this polar bear, look at his wee face. Doesn't look happy at all, doesn't it? 10 of Pence. Page. Knight, Queen, and the King. So in terms of shuffling for this deck, guys, this is a really, really nice deck to shuffle. As I say, it's linen cardstock, so it shuffles like a dream. Riffle shuffling does really well. You can get a really nice riffle and bridge on this one. And, you know, usual size, so overhands like any other deck, but it's just really kind of a nice, and it glides really nicely, so it does. So, yeah, really nice deck for shuffling. So in terms of a question to lay out a sample spread, I was thinking what we could do, and since what we'll do is we'll bring my face up here. How about that? Also going to zoom out a smidge so as we can hopefully get enough room to lay down the spread. Why don't we? So let's think of a sample question. How about someone comes to you and says, "Look, I'm having a really hard time with my job right now. I'm really not happy in the work that I'm doing. Can you offer me any insight into the issue?" Okay, so the first two cards are going to tell us about the question. So we've got the Page of Pentacles and the Hermit coming up. Okay. Now, the Page of Pentacles would suggest to me that we've got someone who's maybe just starting out at something new. Okay. The Pages are suggestive of a new phase. And it's interesting because the Hermit is kind of the opposite to that. The Hermit is coming to the end of a phase, all right? The Nine come towards that kind of a completion, and really kind of a looking inwards. So, I mean, this would suggest to me that the person is perhaps really looking at themselves and thinking, right, am I the best me that I can be? Am I doing the best that I can do? Or is there something that I can be doing to be better? Although they're asking the question about the job, and which might be why we've got the Page of Pentacles coming up, this could be a much deeper question. That this person could be really looking at themselves, and it's mostly manifesting for them in their job, maybe because that's like one of the one of the most prominent areas of their life. um but that page is coming up to suggest that there is fresh energy around about them. Now it could be, there's a couple of possibilities here. It could be that they've actually just started off either in a new job altogether or in a new role in their current job, and they're having doubts about themselves. They're really kind of looking at themselves and they're doubting their abilities just because they're in that unfamiliar territory, which is understandable. It could be that, or this could be saying, right, we've got someone who is coming to the kind of a end of maybe like they've reached this, they've got as much as what they can get out of where they are just now, and there's new opportunities around them. There is an opportunity to kind of a move into something new and learn something new. So this is where we kind of have a conversation with our questioner or querent, and we understand a bit more about the question that they've asked, and that will kind of give us some insight as to which of the possibilities that we can see makes more sense. Okay, and from there, the next card is actions that are being taken right now. So Three of Cups would suggest to me that this person is focused on building relationships. This could be building relationships with the people around about them in their work that they work with, or we could be looking at someone who works in customer service and they're trying to kind of build up their knowledge of the customer base. They're savvy in dealing with their customers. Cups, when you're asking a question about jobs, cups can always be about that kind of that customer relations side of things. um, the kind of immediate aims is the next card. We've got the Two of Wands, and we've got this kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, this duality, this kind of almost this metaphorical arm wrestle that's going on for dominance. So I mean, there's a suggestion here that this person really wants to stand out. They really want to do well, and they want to be recognised for what they're good at. And they kind of maybe want to rise above the others. So let's pull some more cards and we'll see whether that is a good mindset for them to have, or maybe they're going to have to look at things slightly differently. An asset that they've got. Knight of Wands energy, so lots and lots of kind of a really dynamic energy around about them. We can see that they've got a lot of energy in them. Let me just hold that closer because that's not focusing very well when it's on the table. Probably because my hand's here. But you can see with the Knight of Wands that they've got a lot of energy about them, a lot of va-va-voom, a lot of force, a lot of vitality, and they're able to, get a lot done. There's a lot, they're in their prime when it comes to their job, and there's a lot of kind of a ability around about them, So this is, your questioner's the kind of a person who, they take pride in their ability to get stuff done and do stuff well and, influence change and be dynamic and stuff like that. So this isn't someone who wants to be stagnant. This isn't someone who wants to be kind of sitting in the same place, doing the same thing day after day after day. This is someone who really needs that kind of that change to stimulate them and to stimulate their mind. So with that in mind, it could be that their kind of adaptability. It could be that their how they deal with change. If that's their asset, then maybe it's the second option where we've got someone who's coming to the end of their time in their current job and they're looking at having a new opportunity. With that said, the next card is the opportunities card, and we've got the King of Pentacles coming up. Okay, so we're going from this very fiery, very kind of active, very dynamic energy to this very stable energy here with the King of Pentacles. Um, so we've got all of this fire energy as our asset, but fire energy, fire, if you think about fire just as a thing, fire as as fire, it's a really powerful tool that humans have learned to embrace, but without being properly controlled, it can become extremely dangerous. Think about, California and all of the stuff that's been going on there. Think about Australia. Um, you know, when fire gets out of control, it can be really destructive. So it's important that we learn to ground that energy, that we learn to kind of burn it off in some way, that we learn to just I guess just use it up, burn off that energy in some sort of tangible way, and that opportunity comes in with the King of Pentacles here, because the King of Pentacles were brought to Pentacles again. We're brought to that very kind of a grounding, that very earthy grounding energy. But there's also, the king sees the bigger picture, has the ability to kind of control the world around about him, and really kind of manage his environment. So that's an opportunity coming up. Now, when we look at where we started, which was the page, and we look at where we are now, which is the king, maybe we're saying, like, is this someone who's coming to the end of, they can't really learn anything more from where they are right now and they're looking for a change? Maybe what they're actually going to get is a promotion rather than leaving a company and starting completely new somewhere. Maybe the jump from page to king represents a promotion for them, and it's going to take their high energy. When promotion happens, normally we find ourselves working more hours. We're trying to kind of impress people and all that kind of a thing. Two of Wands, the domination. Remember what we said. Um, so we need that night energy. Um, in order to kind of see that through, in order to get everything done and learn all of the new stuff that we're going to have to learn in our new role as well. Next card is how the person is seeing their own question. All right, they're seeing it very much as an endeavor of their intelligence. We've got the Queen of Swords coming out there. So as far as this person is concerned, it's about learning. It's all about learning the information. Gaining that understanding of the role that they need to gain, in order to, apply that knowledge and really be their best selves. Okay. So maybe like coming back to what the question was, and it's really annoying me. On my screen, it's not focusing very well when the cards are on the table. Maybe if I just move it a smidge closer. I know it's going to cut some cards out. That's not really helping. Anyway, um, the question they've asked is, I'm having a hard time. I'm not really enjoying my work right now. What insight do you have? Well, they're seeing it. They're seeing the issue at hand as being about about their abilities, about their understanding, their knowledge and their wisdom in the area, in their field and whatever it is that they're doing. So they're seeing it very much as a matter of having to kind of gain new information, having to understand new things. The fact that the hermit is coming up though, so this is the question as the, this is what the cards are telling us, is what the question is. This is what the cards are telling us, that this is what the questioner sees the question as. There's a contrast for me between the hermit and the queen of swords, because the queen of swords is a teacher. To me, that talks about maybe seeking knowledge from outside, out with yourself, outside yourself. The hermit, for me, the message is always, you have everything that you need inside of you. Okay, there's nothing that you can learn from the books or from going somewhere elsewhere for information. It's really just about gaining that self-confidence, that self-awareness, and that self-confidence. The next card is about timing. It's going to tell us, what we should be doing, we should be doing right now, or when we should be acting. Now we've got the Four of Cups coming out there. Four of Cups for me is a very stagnant energy, and I really get the stagnant feel from this card. Um, so to me, this is like, you're getting stuck in a rut. You're starting to get to a point where it's affecting your emotional well-being. You're starting to feel like just completely turned off from the thing altogether. So although, that it seems it's a stagnant card, so in a timing position, maybe that seems like, oh well, stagnant and timing probably means like you're looking for stability, as a four after all. But for me, this is act now, you know, act yesterday. You need to kind of just rejig things, and just kind of get that burst of energy again. Next card is the overall purpose. So here we had what we're doing. This was like the kind of immediate aims, and now we're looking at the overall kind of aims, the overall purpose, and we've got the Three of Wands. So really kind of in the depiction here, we've got this kind of a breakthrough happening. We have this child breaking through the what appears to be the ground. Threes for me are a number about creation. It's about physical manifestation. When you think about the Empress and that very kind of divine feminine power of birth and, creating things, that really carries through to the threes for me. So this to me is about, manifesting something, about making shit happen. That, and again, see how we have all this kind of a fiery energy? We have this fiery energy in the night and even in the two here. Um, the overall purpose is to find a place to channel that energy. There's obviously a lot of passion in this questioner, in this person. They're looking for that to be recognized, and for that, for them to have a place to put that where they're being recognized for it, and they feel as though they matter, essentially. That's all we all want out of life, isn't it? To matter. 10th card. So this is a bit of a wild card. This is kind of telling us more about the opportunity that we can use the asset for here. Um, okay, so we've got the Five of Wands. Okay. Yes, there's the opportunity to ground that energy and to, there's potentially a promotion coming up. But when you change levels, it doesn't just kind of change your role, it changes your peers. Okay, so the people that you're kind of in line with shifts. When that happens, when your environment changes, it can bring a lot of it brings a lot of dynamic energy. And when the five shows up, usually what that means is that manifests as conflict, competition, conflict, potentially some quite difficult times. So it's not going to be an easy ride. Okay, this isn't going to be like a, oh, you're promoted and now that's you're happy. There's a, there's fighting to be done. This person's going to have to work hard at it, and they're going to have to work hard to rise above the other people, you know. Um, so yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed that. I hope that was helpful to you, and yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed Tarot of the Passing Showers. So I'll say again, I'll put the links in the description. Check out Slightly Chipped Moon, Valerie's channel. Look at what she says about the deck. Also check out Casper's channel. He's got a walkthrough of this deck as well, which was what turned me onto it. So it's pretty good. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.